Welcome, everyone. I'm so excited to have you here today. This is our second Pet Partners Live video where we talk about the Therapy Animal Program. This is so exciting because today I get to talk about all of the species who are not dogs. While 98% of our program is dogs, we do have about 2% of 8 other species, and that's what we're going to write about or talk about today. As we go, I want you to tell me exactly what kind of species you have and where you're at, so I can help you and answer any questions you might have. To tell you a little bit about myself, my name is Lisa Zeiner, and I am the Senior Support Specialist for the Evaluators and Instructors for the Therapy Animal Program. I have also been a handler with a dog and with a rabbit for about 10 years. I was about 4 years with the rabbit and 10 years with the dog. So I do have some experience when it comes to working with other species. Just to recap, today we are going to be talking about cats, rabbits, rats, guinea pigs. I have to always look at my list to make sure I don't forget anybody. Horses, llamas or alpacas, pigs, and birds. A little bit about Pet Partners. Pet Partners is an international therapy animal organization. We are the only international therapy animal organization that actually has or does register all 9 species. When we first started out with the international program, we did not. We thought we would just start out with dogs, but we found rapidly that people were very interested in having other kinds of species to visit with. When I was in Greece, while they understood that therapy dogs existed, they were really actually more interested in horses. They had heard and seen some great studies about how horses can work with children. So that's what they were interested in. They wanted to get some horses coming in. So that is exactly what we were hoping to do, is bring in some new species and make a connection sometimes that others, the dog can't always make. I'm seeing that we've got some people already online. Hi, Liz, and hi, Cassie. It's so nice both of you could make it here today. Again, if anybody has specific questions about any of the species I just listed, please let me know. While you're letting me know that information, I do have some fun facts about our non-canine species, just so you get an idea of where they land on the spectrum. For birds, throughout the whole country, where we have 10,000 teams internationally, we only have 7 bird teams. When it comes to cats, we're looking at a little over 200 teams. For horses, it's over 350 teams. For the longest time, it was dogs that ruled, it was cats that came in second, and then it was horses. But then a miraculous thing happened. People started to really understand the power of mini horses, and next thing we knew, horses had overcome the cats. When it comes to pigs, we only have 5 teams. Rabbits, we're looking at a little over 130. For rats, we have 10. For guinea pigs, we have 28. And for llamas and alpacas, we have 26. So if anybody has any questions on those, on who those teams are and how they're registered, all they have to do is let me know. Again, we're going to talk about all the differences that come along when it comes to non-dogs. We have one question already. What reptiles are part of the approved species? All right, well, we don't register reptiles. We only register the 8 species that I have mentioned. The reason we only have those 8 species is because they are animals that have been with humans for a very long time, and we have extensive knowledge about their stress signals and their behaviors, and they are also domesticated in most cases, other than birds. They're domesticated to the point where they are part of our families. Well, I know a lot of people love their snakes and their reptiles, and we do appreciate them. They're just not an animal that we feel prepared to evaluate for as a therapy animal. We also have to consider our team evaluators. Right now, our team evaluators have 9 species that they must know about and have pretty good extensive knowledge of when they do the evaluation. So if we add more in there, I'm sure we're going to hear from them. So right now, we are just hanging on to the 8. Some of the things we can talk about, though, as far as commonalities when it comes to dogs versus all the other species, we do have a lot of things that everyone has to have in common. For one thing, all of our species need to be potty trained. The only one who can do or use some kind of a collection device is birds. We do allow for flight suits because it is harder to train or potty train a bird. All of our animals have to have a harness, a collar, or a leash. All of our animals need to be able to seek out interactions and consent to interactions. We did do a webinar not too long ago on consent. And on that webinar at petpartners.org, we talk about how all of the different animals, all 9 of our species, will tell their handler and the client that they are consenting to interaction and that they want to seek out and hang out with people. That's actually the most important aspect of the quality of a therapy animal. We do want them well trained, but ultimately the quality that we're looking for is the fact that they are seeking out interactions and they want those interactions and they're consenting to the interaction and that they'll actually ask for more. Some other differences would be the visiting times will vary. Obviously, if you're visiting with a rabbit, you probably are not going to visit for a full 2 hours like you might with a dog. The same would probably be for a guinea pig. They're going to be shorter visits. Some other things that are different between a dog and our other 8 species are going to be grooming techniques. Rabbits don't like to be fully bathed, so we don't expect that to happen. We do expect them to be wiped down and be cleaned and brushed and groomed, but they don't have to have a full wet bath. It's the same for a cat. Many of our cat handlers do give their animals a full bath. But if the animal is not one that likes that, we do accept dry bath and extensive grooming. But essentially the registration process for all of our species is the same. All handlers have to take the exact same course. Oh, great, we have some more people showing up. Hi there. We have Abby coming here. That's wonderful. And she has therapy rats. Like I said, we only have 10 rats in the program, but rats, I love rats. I have decided that down the road, one of my next therapy animals is probably going to be a rat because they are very engaging and they're a wonderful animal to interact with. One of the issues, though, that we do face when we're looking at non-canine species is facilities available for visiting. We have had some issues finding places for rats. So if we have rat handlers and they have some tips, if you want to get onto the online community and talk about that, that would be wonderful to give other handlers tips and tricks for getting the non-canine species into facilities. Like I said, I was registered with a rabbit and we did read to the rabbit. And honestly, I did read to the dog and read to the rabbit. And the children really responded better, I think, in a lot of ways to how Pat, my rabbit, handled the reading visit. She was always on the top of her basket. She was always engaged. They didn't realize that what she was doing was really looking at the paper because she wanted to eat the paper. So, but it looked like she was very much into the listening to the child read and that she was very engaged in the whole circumstance. So it gives the children a funner time when they feel that the animal is really engaged. We're getting a bunch more people to join us today. This is great. We have people coming in from Kentucky. As you guys are coming again, this is Pet Partners. Today we're talking about the less species, the canine species, non-canine species. And we are hoping to be able to encourage people to consider registering with someone other than a dog. The connection that a lot of our animals can make, we are finding that even dog people can find a connection, a strong connection to another animal. A great example was quite a few years ago, my husband was going to go into surgery. He's always been a dog person. We had 4 dogs in the home at the time. As we were out shopping for his materials for him to go to his surgery, he ran into a guinea pig. And according to him, the guinea pig spoke to him. And the next thing I know, I had gone off to get something and I came back and we had a new family member and it was a guinea pig. And that guinea pig made a connection to my husband that the dogs just couldn't make at that point in time and point in his life. So even before I'd come to Pet Partners, that was it was such a fun story. It was such a fun thing to watch that he was so enamored with this guinea pig, and this guinea pig had reached something in him that the dogs just couldn't make that connection. And we understand that that connection can happen, especially children on the spectrum. We have found that they respond very positively to horses. They respond very positively to llamas and alpacas. They also, many of them will respond to a dog, but we have gotten a lot of wonderful resources and reports back from especially schools and teachers at how engaged the children can be when we bring in something that is not a dog, a different species. It teaches them how to interact with more animals than just the family dog. All right, we've got some people in from Georgia now, and they love dogs, but they're visiting with their rats. Let's see. And we have somebody interested in about volunteering with alpacas. If you have specific questions, sometimes we get questions about potty training, what type of equipment. We encourage you to use the Contact Us link on the Pet Partners website, so we can get back to you with the best information. We also, if you've created an account and you've logged in and created an account on the Pet Partners website, you can go to our resource library, and in the search box, just put the animal's name. You can put bird or rat, guinea pig, and what will come up is the fact that we have behavior packets. So you can see what we're saying and what we're seeing about with these animals, and you can understand a little more where we're coming from when we're looking at the evaluation process and when you're going out visiting with them. But you do need to create an account with us in order to be able to access that information. You can also input evaluation overview. Evaluation overviews is going to give you the exact evaluation exercises that are going to be happening when you and your animal come in to do the evaluation. While all of our materials have been based on dogs, we have done enough development in we've changed up some of the exercises in order to be better for the animal that we're working with when it's not a dog. We have a lot of people from Healing Whiskers, and I just want to thank them so much for coming today. Considering how few rats we have in the program, I'm so pleased, because again, I think all the other different species are animals that can make a connection and that can teach our children even more about empathy and grooming than our dogs can, because it's something different, it's something new. And when it is something different and new, they're prepared to learn. They come in, they're excited, they want to learn about this new animal. So some of the other things that are the same, or when it comes to our process, everyone still takes the handler's course. While the handler course may seem that is more derived to be about dogs, it can easily be adapted to any of our species, because ultimately what we want our handlers to be doing is to know their animal stress signals, to know how their animal communicates with them, and we want our handlers to be practicing pets, which is presence, eye contact, touch, and speech, being close and talking to our animals in a conversational manner. And we also want our handlers to be practicing ya ya ba, which is you are your animal's best advocate. And all of those things can be true, be it a canine or be it a guinea pig. We have Sandra wants to know where our other species are visiting at. All of our other species are visiting at the same places that our dogs are. We have instituted all over the country, which is a wonderful program. We all know Read With Me. All of our animals, regardless of species, are eligible to be part of the initiative of Read With Me. We have Read With Me here locally in the Portland, Vancouver area, and they have cats. And the cats were very, very popular. Read to the Cat, like I said, I took my rabbit for Read to the Rabbit. I know Minneapolis area has Read to the Rabbit, quite a good following there. So all of our initiatives, all of our programs can actually be done regardless of the species that you're registered with. Healing Whiskers is also offered up if anyone has questions about therapy rats that they can ask them, or we can direct you to them. We may reach out and make an introduction so the two of you can talk and answer your questions. Right now I'm going to read some of our comments and see if we have some questions here that I can help with. Sometimes it sounds like Betsy had maybe an issue when she first tried going out with her animal because people had an issue with the rat. They didn't. It was a knee-jerk reaction. We see that. We even see that with dogs, especially some of the breeds of dogs. If people come in like with a pit bull or a Doberman, for example, or a German Shepherd, we will get those same kind of judgmental responses about the species. So it's not something that it's something that we obviously know that happens, and we just have to educate. I think that once people start to interact with these animals, they realize that how wonderful they are. Let's see. Okay, we have Heather is encountered the same thing that the people have with the rats, but she encountered it with a guinea pig. She said she went to a different person in the same organization and they were thrilled with the guinea pig. A lot of times, like I said, you have to make a connection. Pet Partners is about the human-animal bond, and we understand that not everyone is going to bond with every breed, every species, which is, again, why we offer 9. We want to be able to give something or have something available for our clients if they aren't dog people. We did have someone here said that they did agree to the dog program with their rat. That's wonderful. I love that. Okay, and Sandra is asking, she says, many healthcare facilities don't allow other species, and what do you suggest? To reach out to us. The best way to do is to contact us. Lots of times we can put your facility in touch with another facility. For example, we have facilities that don't allow cats. Yet I have other hospitals where cats are in the emergency room, cats are on the floors, cats are doing all sorts of visiting. So what we can do is we have when our facilities allow other animals, they become very enthusiastic, and most are very willing to help. So like, again, I would say contact us, and that way we can put our facilities that are open to that, and with one of a facility that might have some concerns. What are some of those concerns? A lot of times it's having to do with allergies or fear, but we have the research that we can give you. Let's see. Heather goes everywhere with the dogs and with her guinea pig. They've become quite famous. I bet they have. I know when my daughter, she was also registered with my rabbit, when she and I would go out, I'd go out with my dog, and I had a very large dog. And we did like a lot of hospice in-service visits and whatnot, so we could have 2 species. And people are always amazed to see the dog and the cat working together, but they did. They loved each other. They cuddled with each other and they hung out. Let's see, Betsy. The encouraging part and difficult part was the crowd of college students that crowded around her pet. I had to tell them I had to leave, but it was a crowd. That's what's going to happen. That's exactly what happened to my rabbit. The first time I took my rabbit out, we were swamped. I couldn't even get into the facility. As soon as I got to the door, somebody wanted to see the rabbit. I carried her in a basket. They wanted to know. They wanted to see. And it took me about 20 minutes to probably go, something that should have only taken me about 3 or 4. Oh, all right. We have Terry from Alaska. I'm so happy that we're getting people from all over the country. We have a mini horse. What happens if she has an accident in a facility? We have had, unfortunately, a few times where we've had some accidents. It really depends on how the facility wants to work with that. We do ask that our animals are potty trained. If you need assistance on that, we can put you in touch with some other handlers. A lot of times when it comes to our other species, like with my rabbit, for example, I watched when I fed her. I also watched her daily routine. She was not an animal that I would take out during the day. She was much better suited for an evening visit. So that worked out great for my schedule. I could work all day and then take her out at night. When it comes to the mini horse or some of your other animals, you may have to be looking at when you're feeding them, when you're exercising them, and you may have to take more breaks more often. I have found that when an animal walks into a facility, pretty much anything they need is there for them. So if they have to take a short break, everybody is willing to help. Everybody is okay with that. So take breaks often. And of course, if you do have an accident, you'd want to tell Pet Partners about it. So we can help maybe in the future so that not to happen. Hi, Denise. Yes, we have some more people coming in. Denise has asked how many rats there were. As we said earlier, rats in our program right now, we have 10 registered rat teams. One of the drawbacks, as we have been pointed out from a couple of our handlers, is the fact that, yes, sometimes it is hard to get some of our other animals into facilities. It's going to take a lot of education. And again, I offer up, use the Contact Us link on the Pet Partners website if you're running into any issues, because we can help you, and again, we can introduce you to people. Let's see, Heather wants, I'd like to know how many registered guinea pigs there are. Okay, for the registered guinea pigs, we're only looking at 28, which amazes me. I'd actually thought that there would be more than that, considering we're over 100 and over 130 for rabbits. But we're working on it, and we just hope that by doing more of these media information sessions that we can get more people educated into the wonders of all of the non-canine species. Okay, Amy is an occupational therapist. She volunteers with her dog and would love to incorporate the human-animal bond with her as a professional in a professional setting. When it comes to professionals, I don't have a lot of advice, but we do have a professional section on the Pet Partners website. When it comes to other animals, honestly, we do have a few people, a few experts in the program. Aubrey Fine is one of the experts. Aubrey has been a professional who has utilized many different species of animals in his practice, and I'm sure that we could even go to him and ask him for some advice as far as how a professional might be able to incorporate more animals and not just dogs into their program. So as we're going, does anybody else have any specific questions, like about the type of equipment that the animals might need? Like I said earlier, all of our animals will require a harness or a collar, regardless of whether or not you're carrying them or they are walking. Let's see, what else? I did want to go over some of the things that when we talk about dogs, we say that we need the dog to know have been in the household for 6 months. There is one exception to that rule, and that's birds. We do ask that a bird is in the home for a year. Birds can be more difficult, plus birds live for a very, very long time. So having them wait for a year we don't believe is a hardship, unlike our other animals. Also, whereas dogs have to be a year old, we only ask for our rats, guinea pigs, and rabbits to be 6 months old. We still ask for the 6-month requirement of being known, but they only have to be 6 months of age versus being a year of age. All right. Let's see. Karen has a question. Are we able to go to facilities which we are familiar with that have not come through Pet Partners? Yes. Anytime if you are requested to bring your guinea pig or your rabbit to a facility, and as long as you're following Pet Partners policies and procedures, you are welcome to go. We encourage you to go. We want you to, the more visits we have, the more people that we encounter, the more that we can open up the world to our non-canine species. And our Healing Whiskers group is saying that they are encouraging, again, that we do need to take the breaks, that you take breaks often. Again, with my rabbit, she didn't hold for a long time. Visits were never longer than more than 45 minutes because I knew at that point she was going to have to go potty. Let's see. And then we've got some more information about rats. I'm loving this. For rats, they are weaned at 1 month. So then we have the 6-month rule. As soon as they are 7 months, we do our evaluations. It's all a rat race. Oh, how cute, how cute. I am just so, when it comes to the smaller animals, even just watching them clean their paws, their hands, just going through their daily routine is fascinating to me. And I've also found it's very fascinating to the clients. Just to be able to watch, and they're so adorable. when a rabbit yawns, when a guinea pig yawns, just simple basic things that the animals do every single day can be just so thrilling and exciting to watch when they come in, maybe to your hospital room for a visit, or you're at a Girl Scout troop giving a presentation. Everybody is just in awe in order to be able to interact with these different animals. Most of us all have dogs. We've known dogs. Dogs are absolutely wonderful animals. But again, sometimes you can make that better connection with a different animal. Just like I started out today with the story of my husband. We talked about he has dogs all his life, yet the connection was the guinea pig the day before his surgery. She had spoken to him. A lot of times that connection. I've had dogs. I also have a cat. I did try to register with a cat, but unfortunately, I lost her. And now I've decided that the cat I have, she's my therapy, and she's only going to be my therapy. She doesn't really like going outside or going out into cars. So that does become an issue if you want to transport her. Okay, we have someone asking how they're going to potty train rats. For that one, I'm going to be honest with you. I don't know how to potty train rats. But if you use the Contact Us link on the Pet Partners website, we'll definitely get you in touch with someone who does know how to potty train rats, because that is a really good question. Cassie wants to know, what are some qualities of a good small therapy animal? The qualities are that they're going to seek out interactions. You want an animal that is very comfortable around other animals. Like I said, my rabbit, when she walked into the house, she got along with the dog. She got along with the cat. When you would sit down, she'd hop over to you and she'd seek out the interaction. She'd put her nose out and say, pet me, rub me. Those are the qualities you're looking for. It's the same way with a cat. Cats are very special when it comes to being a therapy animal. You're going to want a very outgoing cat. You're going to want a cat that's going to want to interact with a lot of different people. Many animals can be one person animals, that they'll bond to one person and they'll only be with one person. That doesn't mean that they're not great therapy for that person, but they're obviously not going to be good for this. I had the advantage that I went through the Oregon Humane Society when I got my rabbit, and I had staff there looking for just the right rabbit. So I was already a step ahead. I knew that the one I had was going to be a good one. She was already basket trained. She was already looking for those interactions. And then Karen is asking if Pet Partners is a worldwide organization. Yes, Karen, we are. We're actually right now currently operating in 10 countries. We're expanding all the time. We are hoping to be holding a team evaluator practicum in Bristol, England, coming in February 2020, if we have enough people interested in attending. Again, we started out the international program thinking dogs only, because we're a very dog-centric organization with 98% of our teams being dogs. But we found immediately the questions came in. What about a cat? What about a rabbit? We've determined that in a lot of countries, people have smaller homes, or their setup is just not conducive to having dogs. So lots of different areas have cats and the rabbits and the guinea pigs, and that's what they're interested in too. Let's see. According to Betsy, Doc didn't need to be potty trained as a rat. He's just fastidious, and I wanted to make sure he has a chance to relieve himself. That is one of the nice aspects of pigs, guinea pigs, rabbits, and rats. They're very clean animals. They don't want to go everywhere. So I'm going to assume that rats are going to be a lot like my guinea pig was. She was very easily potty trained. All we had to do was put a little pellets into a dish at the side, and she immediately figured it out. She didn't want to mess her cage up. She didn't want to mess up. Anytime we took her out to play, we had her little dish over there. And then it was also easier to figure out what her timing was, how long she could go, be out and be playing before she had to go to the bathroom. Okay, and Sandy wants to know how many cats are registered. Right now, we're looking at a little over 200 cats within the program. And most of our cats, honestly, are visiting everywhere. Like I said earlier, we have cats in emergency rooms. We have cats visiting in assisted living. Of course, they're a hit at assisted living. We have many people who like to have cats come and visit. But we also do read to the cat. people, I know some cats went on a walk with me when we did the world's largest pet walk. So like again, all of our animals, all 9 species are eligible for all of our initiatives, and they're eligible for all of our programs. We just do want to make sure that when we get everybody together, that we get the species together who get along. We don't want to be showing up at a walk with me with a lot of dogs who maybe aren't comfortable around all those other species. So those are some of the things you're going to want to take into consideration when you do agree to go on to a visit. If you have a rat, for example, if you have a guinea pig, find out, does the facility have a resident dog, for example? Many facilities will have a resident dog that just roams. So you want to be sure to check out your facility if you are going to be bringing in an animal that is not a dog. Also, that's one of the reasons why, regardless of the species, all of our animals have to go through the neutral dog exercise of the Pet Partners Evaluation. We know that sometime in the animal's life, if they're out visiting, and they do it often, at some point they are going to run across a dog. And we want to make sure that they're not going to be fearful of that experience. We are very concerned about our animals, not only animal welfare, but their well-being. We want them to be happy when they're out visiting, and we want them to be relaxed and as stress-free as possible. So one of the things that we do encourage, if you are going to be registering with a species that's not a dog, is one thing I did is I went to a lot of the different pet stores. That way, putting my rabbit into a cart, she could ride, she could watch, she could experience the smells of other animals, and other animals could kind of get an experience of her as well. And it made it easier for her. It made it less stressful for when actually she went out to visit. So the more exposure you can make for your animal, the better. So is there anything else that anybody else? Let's see. We have, okay, how many horses are in the program? Again, many horses have beat out cats. We're looking at a little over 350 teams of horses. Now, I'm not going to say we don't have it broke out as far as large full-size horses and small horses. So when I say over 350, I'm just saying horses in general. The majority of our horse teams are mini horses, but we do have full-size horses out there visiting. I'm aware of a Clydesdale that visits an assisted living facility in Florida, walks down the halls, and it is a hit when he shows up, or she, I can't remember if it was a boy or a girl, but I do know that the facility residents just absolutely enjoy it when they see that Clydesdale coming down the hallway. We have a question about where mini horses actually go. Do they actually typically go into the visit facility, a courtyard, inside, or where the visit happens? That really depends on the facility. I would say the majority of our mini horses do visit inside. If you go to our Facebook page, you're going to see children reading to a horse inside of a library. Many people are not aware that the ADA has created a designation for mini horses to be guide horses for the blind. By making that designation, that has made it easier for us to bring in horses into facilities, because facilities are understanding that the horses are potty trained and they are set up and they know how to do this. They have the experience of going into buildings. Part of our evaluation is that they can back up and go through a door. So they're prepared for that. And by doing that, that also opens up the door for more facilities to allow them in. When it comes to larger horses, many do a kind of a gazebo type visit. They'll have an area or a courtyard for that, but it isn't necessary. Many of our llamas and horses, regardless again of the size, if the facility is willing, we're going to take our animals inside and make the visit happen for the clients if they're not ambulatory or able to come outside. And yes, having other animals in your home, if you are going to be doing this kind of thing with a non-canine species, like I said, exposing them to as many animals as possible is a wonderful thing. And Mary wants to know how many pigs are registered with Pet Partners. We only have 5 pig teams. We would like to increase that. Again, I have seen on our Facebook page, Read to the Pig. They can be wonderful animals. I had a pig as a child. Again, they're a nice, very clean animal. and they can be very social. So if you're out there, you have an animal that fits into one of these 8 species, you need more information, please use the Contact Us link so we can get you that information and we can get you registered. And if we don't have the information, what we'll do is we'll connect you with someone who does. We had someone who's worried about dribbling. Apparently, they do tend to dribble. I'm going to assume that's rats, which is not necessarily an issue. If you've been with a St. Bernard, you know that they will slobber, as long as you're prepared for it. You know, maybe have a little rag or a tissue there for if they're doing a little dribbling. We can just clean that up, and it's a good education learning experience for the children or for the client as they see it. Again, when things happen on a visit, education is the key to getting people to accept your animal and to be relaxed and enjoy the experience with them. I'm so happy to see so many of you from all around the country. It looks like we have a lot from the Midwest, which I was kind of surprised today, considering I'm on the West Coast and it's noon here. So I do appreciate the fact that you were able to take the time today to come out and learn more about the non-canine species. As far as if you are interested, again, we want you to log into the Pet Partners website, create an account, and begin a registration. Once you do those things, there are resources available to you that wouldn't be available to you otherwise. And also, again, we have a staff who is very knowledgeable about the animals and the species that we work with. So if you use the Contact Us, we'll be happy to assist you. I have walked many a rabbit handler through the process, from helping them do the potty training, picking the equipment, you name it. We want to set up our non-canine species for success because, again, as we've said earlier, they can sometimes make a connection, especially with children on the spectrum, that not always a dog is able to make. So we do like to have other species. We also have some people who, you know, grew up with some animals who now find out that they're in an assisted living and they maybe don't have that opportunity to be able to pet the pig that like they had as a child, or to be able to have the cat that they had before they were moved into the assisted living. So in order for us to have those kinds of extra species, we're very, very pleased. It's very exciting to be able to walk into a facility with something that's not a dog. While a dog is a wonderful therapy animal, again, if you have the right non-canine species who is definitely a people person or a people animal, and they want to have interactions with people and they like to be petted by people, then that's going to be the animal that we want. We want to see you evaluate with them and bring them out on visits so we can do more education on animal well-being and animal welfare. We have some specific questions for rat people. Is there a type of brand or of harness that you feel doesn't inhibit petting? Again, these are going to be more specific questions. We can put you in touch with some handlers. I found for guinea pigs and rabbits, at least, it really depends on the animal. I started out with a mesh harness for my rabbit. She didn't like to have all that feeling of all of the harness on her, so that what we had to do was find the most thinnest harness possible. She just didn't like the feeling of all that clothing on her. So you may have to go to the pet store and try a number of different harness types just to see what they're comfortable with. I would set mine out and actually have them kind of sniff it and check it out before I made any kind of decisions. The other thing you might want to consider when you're thinking about your animals that aren't canines is how you're going to visit, especially when it comes to pocket pets. Are you going to be carrying them? Do you want to put them in a basket? I went with a basket with my rabbit because rabbits do like to have that feeling of security of 4 on the floor. And I felt that she could always have that security by being in a basket. These are things you want to think of, because once you do the evaluation, however you evaluate, whatever equipment you use at the time is going to be the equipment that you're going to use on the evaluation. And Jillian is a great reminder. You have to have a barrier. You always have to have a barrier. especially when we're talking about our smaller animals. In order to put an animal on the lap or on a chair or on a bed, we do ask that there always is going to be a barrier present. Even if you've brought a blanket or a cozy, specifically maybe for your guinea pig, you're going to still want to put a barrier between that and the bed and that and the client. So great. Thank you for that reminder that we do definitely want to always have barriers present for our smaller animals. We did have someone come back and say that they use the Guru rat harness. I know nothing about the Guru rat harness, but there is one suggestion for you to try. Let's see. We do have one rat who has been visiting in a basket. Basket's kind of nice. It does give them their own little home. And it's a good place too if they've decided that they're tired, where they can curl back up and then they give you the signal that, hey, it's time to go. With Patty, her signal was in her basket, she'd start to nest. So she'd really start to dig. Once she started to dig and to nest, I knew that she'd become overstimulated. She was tired. It was time to end the visit and time to go home. That is something that she might not have been able to express to me as clearly if I had been carrying her. So that's just something to consider. You really want to think about the equipment ahead of time, and what you pick and what you evaluate with is going to be what you need to visit with. So it's something that you really want to have put a lot of thought into. Let's see. We do have a comment about the leash and guinea pigs. I'm going to have to read that one a little more closely in order to give you a better answer for that. So I would, try to get back to you later on that one. We have some more people commenting on the floor because that's definitely something. And then we're also talking about that the barrier does help for, the nails and for allergens, which is true. If you put the animal on something, then it's not going to be leaving any kind of hair or anything once you have gone on to the next room. So do we have anyone out there who maybe has a llama or alpaca? I'm kind of surprised today. We do seem to get a lot of interest in that. Again, I was kind of surprised that we only had 26 registered llama and or alpaca teams. Again, they have had a wonderful response from children on the spectrum, specifically llamas and alpacas have. So again, we'd love to have more into the program. If you have any questions, we can always, we have such wonderful handlers. They're always willing to help. What we do is if we can't answer that question that you have about a specific animal, we're going to put you in touch with maybe one of our handlers or one of our experts who have helped us create our behavior packets and our resource information. So we're going to try to find the information for you if we don't have it readily available. All right, well, I'm going to give it a few more minutes to see if we have any more questions or suggestions. We've had some great suggestions from our rat handlers today. I think that's absolutely awesome. Again, like I said, I love rats. I have considered that my next animal may be a rat, but it'll probably happen after I lose. We no longer have our cat, just because I don't want to add the extra stress to either one of them. But cat, rabbits, all of these animals, like I said, mine got along with every animal in my household. If you get the right animal, you're going to be amazed at how well they adapt to doing this kind of volunteering. And how they seek it out, and they really like to visit. I know my rabbit did like to visit. She liked the evening visits. She loved to interact with the children. The children would give her sticks and toys that she could play with, and she had a ball while she was there. Granted, again, it was a short visit, but it was jam-packed, full of fun time. The kids always had a great time, and they learned a lot. They learned about handling of a smaller animal. They learned all sorts of wonderful little fun facts that aren't not associated with a dog. It just helps them when they encounter any animal. The more animals you can learn about, the better it is. So when you do face a new one, you have some background information because maybe you've handled, maybe you don't know rabbits, but you've handled a guinea pig. So you have some kind of understanding and it's a little easier and it can be a little more fun. We have some new handlers here. We encourage you to reach out to us if you have any questions or concerns. If you have a new animal that you want to register with, we want you to come to us. Today, we would love for those who are not already currently with us to go to our petpartners.org website, create an account to log in, see all the wonderful information we have. Again, if you start an in-progress registration with an animal, a lot of our resources will become available for you. Things like the evaluation overview and the behavior packet of the different species that we register. All those things will become available, but you do have to create a login account in order to see those documents. Karen wants to know, are we able to see which type and quantity of teams are responding to a visit to a facility posted by PP? Is there a maximum? Unfortunately, no. I'm assuming we're talking about the volunteer opportunity. Once the volunteer opportunity goes up, we don't know whether or not it gets answered. They're only going to be up for 6 months. We assume if it's not re-upped that they probably have gotten enough attention. They have enough teams. There is no maximum. We have some facilities that have up to 30, 40 teams. They want teams every single day. Some facilities want teams not only every day, but for a good chunk of the day. So depending on the facility, they may have dogs in the morning, they may have rabbits in the afternoon and finish off the evening with guinea pigs. There's no set quantity to that. Unfortunately, if you do see an opportunity, you will just have to check it out. And a lot of times they may put dog, and if they do, then that's just going to be someplace that we've asked you to move on. If it's someplace that you really, really want to visit and they put dogs only, it might be something that you might want to consider offering up some education or maybe asking some questions as to what the reasoning is behind that. Once we know that, maybe we can educate them and help them to make a decision in order to allow you to come on in with your animal. And Jenna has a great suggestion. She said, for my cat who didn't like a harness, I used a martingale collar. I've never used a collar on a cat other than a collar just to hold their licenses and whatnot. But if that works, great. Let's see, Britt, I'm getting my guide pig Marvin evaluated on 12/7. Any recommendations for a smooth evaluation? The big thing is to have all your paperwork ready, to get all your grooming ready, to have everything so you're not thinking about it on the day of the evaluation. On my day, I have it all in a pile. It's all of my harnesses and leashes and things are cleaned. My paperwork is sitting there and it's ready. I find if all you have to do is pick that up and go, that makes the evaluation day much easier for you. Also, the other thing is to remember to breathe and to smile. If you do those two things, you'll relax. And just to be practicing pets and advocating for your animal, you should breeze right through. And then we will have, when you pass, we're going to have 6 pick teams. So that's going to just be wonderful. Let's see. Jessica just started the handler course. Jessica, that's wonderful. Hoping to visit with a cat. He's still young, so you're working with him on socialization. We don't have dogs, so what are some places I can take him to have him around dogs? Pet stores, Home Depot, Lowe's, a lot of your hardware stores allow for our animals to come in there, especially if you tell them you're practicing. If you're unsure, that would be what I would do, is to give them a call. Maybe you have an Ace Hardware or a True Value Hardware, something like that. Give them a call, let them know what it is that you're trying to do, that you want to acclimate them, and that would be a good place. That would be a good place for that to happen. Pet stores and anywhere that they allow dogs to come into, and see if they'll allow you to bring your animal in. Oh, Heather has 3 registered guinea pigs. That is so awesome. That is really, really great, because again, guinea pigs can't visit for very long. So having a couple of them in order to change up different days for them to visit is a wonderful opportunity to share more animals. And it also doesn't tire out one. Changing them up, having multiple animals to be able to take to a visit is good. Also, in case somebody gets sick. If you have one animal that gets sick, you can always bring maybe the other one in. Let's see. Let's see. According to Jenna, Hobby Lobby in her area allows pets, and the vet clinic does too. Vet clinic is a great idea. Let the vet know that you want to come by. We actually did that. We believe in a fear-free vet experience. So before we've taken our animals to the vet, we always take them in a couple days ahead of time and let them check the place out. That's a wonderful, wonderful idea to hang out, to go by the vet, maybe sit in their waiting room for a little bit with your cat or guinea pig or rabbit, just to get them acclimated to the different smells, the different environments. And especially at a vet clinic, you're going to hear probably a lot of different noises. So that would really definitely be a way to acclimate them. But just you want to make sure that they don't become too stressed when you're doing that, and that you are supporting them through it. And my best advice for that is to make it quick. The first few visits, I wouldn't stay more than a few minutes in order to get them acclimated to it. We believe in taking it very slow, and that way you're constantly checking in with them. You don't want to overwhelm them too quickly. Let's see. Also, Betsy has suggested that some sporting goods stores will allow animals in. So that's another great place maybe to possibly acclimate your rabbit to being again along with dogs, or your cat for that matter. We have one who, she works at a high school, and he comes in every day and hangs out. Let's see. According to Heather, she ended up making, it sounds like she made her own harness with string yarn for her guinea pig, so it doesn't hurt her skin. She says there are tutorials online. We do want to make sure, though, if we are making our own harnesses, that they look like harnesses. We did have a request from a cat team the other day who had some issues with harnesses, and she wanted her cat to wear one that looked like a dress, and she had another one that looked like a coat. Unfortunately, we can't allow for any of our animals to wear costumes. We need our animals to look like the animals they are. So when you are finding or looking for your harness, you're going to want to make sure it looks just like a harness, an animal harness. It's important, again, that our animals look like the animals they are. So if you are going for tutorials, I know that those are really, really cute. When we get our animals in, maybe a harness that looks like a dress or a coat. But for pet partners, we want to have a professional approach. We want to have a professional presentation, and we also need consistency. So by having this policy, we can all be consistent that when we walk in, our animals the guinea pig looks like a guinea pig, a rabbit looks like a rabbit. We have someone asking if it's mandatory to have a harness on a guinea pig. We have to have something. We have to have something to have the leash attached to. I have no bonding pouch. Sounds like a pouch. If you're talking about carrying the animal in a pouch, we don't allow for that. Again, our animals have to be out and about. When we walk into a facility, we want the facility to know that we have an animal with us. So carrying an animal in a pouch is not going to be acceptable. And I'm not sure what a critter cuddle neck holder is. Those are things I'd have to look into. Again, if you want to go ahead and use the Contact Us website and ask those questions, we'll get back to you after I've had some opportunity to do some investigating. And if anybody's hearing anything, that is my dog down here who has decided that he'd like a little attention because all he's hearing about is all these other species. And I think he's getting a little jealous. But he's a dog. All right. I am so pleased by everyone attending today and all of your wonderful suggestions. It looks like I'm going to have a lot of good people out there that I'm going to be able to tap for information, especially when it comes to rats. Anyone else, if you're listening and you want to be someone who we can reach out to, again, use the Contact Us link on the Pet Partners website. We like to make connections between handlers and prospective handlers, just like we like to make connections sometimes between facilities. Again, if a facility you want to bring a cat into a facility and maybe they're unsure or have some questions, we can try to put them together with a facility that does allow cats, so the two of them can talk and maybe talk about policies and procedures and risk management. We have found in a lot of cases that's usually what works, is having facility to facility conversations. It all comes down to education. We have found that no matter what, with some really good education, we can always find facilities for our animals to visit at. There's always somebody looking out there who wants that special connection, maybe with a guinea pig or a rabbit or a pig or a llama. All righty. Okay, we do have somebody who is a PP team and doesn't really know how to get going. Again, on this one, you might want to use the Contact Us link and let us know where you're at, what town you're in. You might also want to check your volunteer opportunities. When you log into the website, you can go right to posted opportunities and cruise through there. I would leave it as open as possible as far as mileage goes, just to see what's available, and then you can pick and choose. We have somebody who's just now starting to work with their rat, so she said this was perfect timing. We have someone, Betsy's talking about that rats can be challenging. She sees the harness more as a signal to the facility that my rat isn't going to run around uncontrolled. And a lot of times, I mean, when we ask for the leash to be in the hand, that is it. Betsy's got it spot on. We want the facility, we want the clients to believe that our animals are under control. They're not going to run away. They're not going to get away. And the best way we can do that is by having a leash in our hand. Yes, and people ask if you walk my rat on a leash. I'm sure you probably do at some point. We do kind of hope when you're on a visit, though, that the rat's up in your arms, because we can't guarantee how all the animals or the dogs that you pass are going to feel about that rat. And we don't want anything to ever happen to one of our non-canine species. Well, we're not going to have any more questions today. Again, I encourage all of you who are listening, if you have not created an account, if you're not currently with Pet Partners, that you do go to our website. We have tons of wonderful information on there, but to access it, you will need to create a login. And you will also want to, if you have an animal, to create an account, because once you create an account, some other things will open up to you. We appreciate you coming here today. We want you to subscribe to more of our live updates. We do have some more planned throughout the year. So if you're interested in Pet Partners and our therapy animal program, both nationally and internationally, you're going to want to tune in, because we're going to have some great information about what our program is doing, what our teams are doing, and the animals that make our program happen. So I think today we're going to go ahead and close this up. Again, I thank so much Healing Whiskers for being so supportive today and offering some great suggestions. They've also reached out and said that they will be, they can answer questions if any of you today have some questions. So that would be awesome. If I haven't answered something that you had a question on today, again, please use the Contact Us link on the Pet Partners website, and we will get back to you. We'll try to get back to you within 48 hours. I am so appreciative of you all attending today, and I hope you have a wonderful afternoon and a wonderful time enjoying all of your non-canine species. Thank you so much.